Hi, my name is Deb Halfrich. I'm the founder of #Wellbeing Philosophy. It's not a business. Oh, it may be a B Corp. I don't quite know. I'm a philosopher, not a business person. Arlan, you've been, you showed up in my life when you shared a post on LinkedIn about journey. The R-ness in the word. Well, you captivated me right then and there. And then in watching and streaming the documentary and just noting and just like, oh, I'm so proud to know that she's out there in the world funding all of these different kinds of founders. Real change comes when a woman stands up against the system. I'm the founder of #Wellbeing Philosophy. The Wellbeing Philosophy Institute exists to make clear, anti-racist, life-centric thinking about human potential a necessary global public good. The chaos of 2020 has shown that literally, foundationally, human civilization is rotten at the core. The systems, the structures, the scarcity, the punishment, be just like this model of human, or else live a life of misery. It's got to go. Every single one of us. Wellbeing philosophy, and again about focusing on human potential, is to see the richness of human life force and the creativity of solving things in inventive ways. I would like to become a Socratic monologuist, a one-woman improv performer who goes off like this, brings in, synthesizes all kinds of things. It turns out I'm the little redheaded girl who's grown up to be able to give Sigmund Freud vagina envy. Talking about being in this transition phase from human 1.0 to human 2.0, which is an evolution of consciousness, of thinking that can create an actual humane human civilization. That's dependent upon sharing the skills of life-centric thinking across the globe. We can't come at this band-aid by band-aid, one system by another system. Capitalism, while I can respect what you've accomplished so much, like let's not get that twisted. Capitalism is so far from the optimal economic foundation of a humane civilization, because we have to understand that for 500 years, capitalism has been twinned with racism, dehumanization, broad strokes. I mean, clearly darker skinned humans took the brunt of it. But so did women. So did anyone who didn't meet this one standard template of humanity from a small sliver of Northern European white men. To twist all that out of the human psyche, it's got shared across the globe through colonialization. What we've got to do is enable everyone to see their own potential. Everyone to see that everything that they think is wrong with themselves is actually the material that allows them to make their own right livelihood. I got up to 333 pounds, Arlan. I've lost 150 pounds in the 15 months after turning 50. I would like to be your, let's call it, mental fitness coach. the weight, the chronic diseases, the constant reoccurring symptomology, it's all down to a lack of freedom in our thought processes. So as successful as you are and what you've accomplished is immense. I'm here to help you personally first. Simply because I can feel, I have embodied empathy. Is I sort of see somebody and again, when I spend some time, watch a full documentary, things like that, like I can take on how the challenges I faced being morbidly obese my whole life, the feeling state of never having enough energy. I think this is something that we can have a Socratic dialogue about and come up with some really easy things to help you optimize your bioelectricity. The Wellbeing Philosophy Institute owns my personal IP. It's the mechanism of sharing my IP about the philosophical hypothesis of bioelectricity. So just as you've taken venture capital and made it more humane, I'm going for Western managed care healthcare. It's all wrong. It's the same thing. And again, it's one medical model of a white European male, how much pain medication people get. No studies. Studies are all happening on college kids, if not just college-aged males, right? And we're now in vaccination territory. Let me be the wise feminine philosopher who can pivot some of these dialogues. Let's just have a wide-ranging talk about how you would like to be optimized. And I got strategies from breathing to posture to sleep, just all the basics. I mean, they're really much more important, but you got to really work them as a matrix. That's how I lost 150 pounds in the 15 months after turning 50. I've got so much potential, but I still literally am in my own case suffering from CTSD, current trauma stress disorder, because how I managed my childhood neglect, all of the things that happened to me, I ended up getting a toxic mold exposure. I live in the Seattle area. And I'm suffering from some nervous system derangement, some brain challenges. I'm neurocomplex, adult onset. Autism, ADHD, all these kinds of things. Except it simply to me is, I've now got the energy to allow my stream of consciousness to come out in the world as ideas, as play, as in, I'm kind of like the new girl who's just moved into your internet neighborhood on the Twitter sphere. And I'm saying, hey, let's hang out. My empathy says that you're looking for a way to be more optimally healthy, to keep delivering on your mission. And I got better questions, right? So see, the doctors and the researchers, I'm not going to get, they have to do the research to come up but I got better questions in the 7.5 minutes that you're going to get from any managed care doctor. And we'll dive into this. And I'm telling you, when it comes to food, first off, fat, human fat, it's perfect onboard nutrition. Our bodies don't make us fat because they want us to be unpopular, unhealthy, sick. right? Our bodies put on this excess weight. None of us consciously do it. Our bodies create overweight situations because we're unsafe in the world. Back to the failing human civilization. And someone's got to furnish it with life-centric thinking through the Wellbeing Philosophy Institute. So I'd like to just offer a few hours of well-being philosophy, Socratic dialogues, so that you can meet me and understand me. I'm looking for an investment, perhaps in my hashtag Redheaded She-Hulk anti-racism one-woman show, or in establishing the Wellbeing Philosophy Institute to talk to all 7.8 billion people about understanding human life force differently and not thinking about bodies as machines in the mechanistic sense, but as in these marvelous dynamic consciousnesses wrapped up in bodies that are our best friends forever. Here's the thing about eating. It's the first thing we ever learn. See, this is all about using evolutionary logic. It's what well-being philosophy is. It's going to evolution. Evolution's always this process of adaptation and evolution and of generating entirely new things, right? Red hair, freckles, pale skin, newer evolutionary model. But red hair, freckles, these existed as early surface adaptations before any human ever left the continent of Africa. I believe that only an anti-racist society has a shot of making humans well enough that we can start working together to dial down the COVID spread, to increase our understanding of how to be optimally bioelectrically fit. And in our supreme well-being, we find the time to be community-oriented, to give back to others, to create new ways. All this is a creative venture, right? I'm not coming to you as somebody who's creating a company. I'm coming to you as a real rare human with these gifts that she spent 50 years developing of philosophy and verbal acuity and fearlessness when it comes to standing up to men who are wrong. It's where we align. I'm asking you if I can belong to your community, to hang out, to see how to operationalize meeting somebody who can build the business container around somebody who can philosophically reorient the paradigm of the failing Western medicine arena. Start with you first, because I care about you. Because helping you do more of what you do helps so very many. And I'm going to take and learn, apprentice into that model so I can also be that kind of woman who creates an organization that is there to enable others. In my case, it's about optimizing human well-being through the mind as a philosopher, which has, as we know in the mind-body continuum, and I've demonstrated by losing 150 pounds, no diet or exercise. No, nothing, none of those standard things. I did have to create a caloric deficit. I used fasting. Very robustly dynamic principles of fasting, which we can talk through, that our science, it's adding things up in the right way, looking not taking a thin person, what a thin person does to stay thin is not what we need to do to have somebody in a much larger body become thin. It's a different process. So I have these philosophical premises, fat is perfect human nutrition. So cravings aren't bad. Cravings are your body trying to stay alive, but you can go in and talk through the cravings and go in from the perspective that eating is the first thing you learned and you had no control over it. And even somebody who may have been thin for 30, 40 years, if you pile on a lot of pounds as you age, somehow, some way, some external circumstances made you so unsafe that you're triggered back into the set of principles about how to eat. It makes your body mind go, we gotta pack in the pounds. And this can be unwound pretty robustly. There's a lifetime of decisions around eating and tastes that we crave and all this kind of stuff, but fundamentally learning to trust our body, learning to, within the fact that we're not going to want to live life if we give up potato chips or pizza. There is an easy, robust way to filter in. I mean, potato chips were honestly, brown bag kettle potato chips, the foundation of my food pyramid. Ad libitum, quite frankly. And I have the Amazon receipts of the 12 packs being subscribed and saved to me. So, a lot going on here because I'm ready to get in the flow of life. I'm ready to partner with absolutely everyone. I enjoy you, and then I had to meet your wife on Twitter at the same time, and seeing the combination of the relationship and just seeing two real competent women supporting each other, building this legacy in the VC world. I'd like to sort of contribute what you need right now. You get a salary. What I like to do is maybe open up a new stream of income for using crypto and blockchain to invest in creative ventures, to invest in a human wanting to create a right livelihood that doesn't fit any current existing model. We use digital currency, D-money. I'm going to have to pivot that from crypto because crypto puts us all in this fear-based state. And yeah, it's these fear-based states in the scarcity model of money. Money can just as easily be abundant. So this whole thing, because there's only so much gold and then there's supposedly only, men did that. But think to here in the Pacific Northwest, we have very robust small, sustainable indigenous civilizations all throughout the Seattle, Vancouver, San Juan Islands, Olympic Peninsula. Very, 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 very robust, interconnected matrix civilization. Currency back in that time, and I think this happened on the Atlantic coast as well, were seashells. Now, this is a natural symbol that's really, again, not for 7.8 billion, but in the parlance of those times, it was abundance incarnate. It was natural. It was always flowing. You could always go on a walkabout and get more shells. You could always have different kinds of shells, different sizes, different agglomerations, doing things. There was always a way that abundance just kept evolving and aggregating and naturally. You didn't store the shells. You used the shells. Let me be clear about that. You use the shells, you didn't store them, sequester them, put them in bank accounts just for the own, theoretical thing that there's all these shells in a bank account. You used them, you didn't store them. Life force is here. Taking a bet on me creating this way to use philosophy to change the world and the ripples it might have. This is something that a digital currency can provide. Like people can come in and on a blockchain, bits like who likes the bit about being a little redheaded girl who grows up to get Sigmund Freud vagina envy? Because I can explain the subconscious better than Sigmund Freud. Look, again, he was a cigarette smoking armchair pervert. I've now seen brain scans. I've now read what the internet has to offer, and I have a better definition of human subconscious. It's not a black box that we can't access, or that now most of the leading people will say it's a recorder and you can access it, in the twilight around sleep, in and out of sleep. This is my subconscious. It's a brainwave frequency that I've hacked as part of learning to operate a body that was going through a lot of fasting, was doing a lot of extra sleeping, hibernating, so that I can accommodate so much fasting, so I can lose the weight that was storing the toxins of a mold exposure I had in my childhood, my childhood home. My parents built it, and it was a basement into the side of a hill, and it flooded a lot. Only recently remembering when I was really young. Most of my childhood memories, it wasn't there. It took a while. And it's the memory of me hearing people say that it flooded a lot, not any personal memories. So I'm telling you that the trigger, just like I say with becoming obese later in life, there's some trigger in an external environment situation that occurs with the point in your childhood when you may have turned to food excessively and only. And this is what we know about the adverse childhood experiences and midlife crises and things like that. I want to help a lot of people through Socratic monologues, through talking about human potential and what constrains it, first and foremost, because that's where I'm at in my point of life. But also, again, back to inventing that, the reasons humans have evolved as the pinnacle species. Because it's not what the men think about survival of the fittest. That's one aspect of it. There are peak moments in nature when it's eat or get eaten. They're relatively rare. I mean, again, I could Google this, but this is completely off the top of my head. I mean, lions aren't eating every day. I bet lions kill about twice a week. Depending on, again, whether it's the dry season or the wet season or the this or the that or the other thing. How big the pride is, how many are pregnant, how many newbie cubs have to get fed, things like that. But I would bet lions hunt 2 or 3 times a week. Although they might hunt 3 times in one day if some virus comes at the herd and all of the antelopes be like woozy, which is what's going on with human civilization right now. There's a bit on my YouTube where I explain evolutionary logic. This is another one of my official bits of #Wellbeing Philosophy. The chicken and the egg dilemma. It's always introduced as a problem that cannot be solved. Except there's an easy, correct answer. Obviously, correct answer. We're told things and we memorize things, and the question is set up as unsolvable. We go, it's unsolvable. The answer is egg. And what you do when you're hidden in either or that you can't get through, you always ask one more question. And how you do this was the chicken or the egg, and we don't know. You just pick one. Chicken's alphabetically first. The chicken came, where did the chicken come from? Mars? No, Venus. The feminine. And what is a womb for a chicken? It's an egg. Every chicken had to come from an egg. Does the egg come from? Evolutionary logic says a reptile. At one point, a gecko started getting a protuberance. And then a million hours later, 2 protuberances. And then it was really hard to scurry around with these things. But they lived like that for a long time, this past century. And then one day, a gecko fell out the tree, braced itself, caught a little air, and flew down to safety. Scurried right the F back up that tree and launched again and again and again. And then other geckos says, oh, that's what them things is for. The pleasure principle is far more prevalent in evolution than the Western measurement medicine men can allow. In their fragile, greed-based, oppress everyone else civilizational structures, they'll just all crumble like Berlin walls. When I open up people's ability to think beyond paradigms, like the chicken and the egg can't be answered when it so obviously can be. Got a lot more of these. I am eager to first and foremost offer my unique insights into seeing what we can do to optimize your health for your mission. Because my embodied empathy tells me you're physically struggling, even as your mind is so fierce. And I lived that for so long. That's how come I can be so bold, because I'd have been so grateful if somebody had reached out to me. Then I'd like to contribute in and around your team as I can, maybe create some seminars like this, help all of your team be optimal, and learn a little bit about the VC world. And I'd like to find some people to then, fund the hashtag Wellbeing Philosophy Institute. Maybe your little documentary team looking for a new project, and I can do one on 50 plus female human potential. I've gotten to the point where the creativity of evolving our civilization past this moment of complete chaos, where unless we change things fundamentally, our species is going to self-extinct. I'm ready to join into the world. But what I've found, and why I've ended up dead broke, bankrupt, about to be made homeless, because can't believe that as a civilization, the US of hypocrisy has let 45 get to the point of a coup while we can't stop 50 to 100 million Americans from getting evicted? Shame on this civilization, right? Shame on the high net worth individuals. Because the umbrella of building a company, right? Respect to everything you've done. But you've got to see that this model of building an app, and it's just all popularity, and it's just numbers of likes, and it's absolutely the emperor's new clothes. Because I've not seen anyone yet in all this big data come in and say, well, here's human attention. And everyone better start having their 8 hours of sleep, if not 10 hours, if not always 12 hours off of the device. How much can somebody consume? 8 hours at work, 3 hours to be a friend, parent, lover, 1 hour to consume content every day. There's the real scarcity. Wasting, stealing human life force. And right now, mine is being stolen by the fear of a crushingly inhumane economic environment. So I'm looking to invent a way to help myself that can then be operationalized, that can be shared at least in my stand-up monologues, my stories, so that people can invent their own sort of ways of being. But also, I am swearing this whole concept of pivoting to D-money, to digital money, and blockchaining human life potentials. Like everyone gets like a theoretical investment. Like the cafeteria plans for benefits. What if every citizen would get, like a UBI, $2,000 a month? So if you're in a creative zone, or if you're in a health crisis, or if you worked yourself to the bone and you simply needed a year of celebrating your success. Humans are not machines, and we have to build a financial way for life to become more dynamic. Then people will get far more productive, and ultimately will go away from the scarcity model of the concept of money and create a situation where human civilization is optimized for actual human lives. That's what I'm all about. Holler at me, Arlan. debhelfrich@gmail.com. And I'll be on a Zoom anytime you can schedule it. Evening, weekend, give me a little bit of a notice and I'll be there anytime you want. And I'm open for any kind of marching orders. I'm thrilled at how you might respond to this. Nothing makes me more happy than to think that there might be a strategic collaboration in our future. Be well, happy holidays. Looking forward to talking with you.